Water is life, yet so often it is wasted, flowing too quickly, disappearing before plants can drink. But a simple wall of bottles can turn every drop into patience, every trickle into nourishment. The bottle drip irrigation wall is not just a structure, it is a promise to care for the garden wisely. Imagine a plain brick wall at the edge of your backyard. Now picture it lined with bottles, each one tilted slightly, pierced with tiny holes at the bottom. When filled, they drip slowly, sending water like a gentle rain onto the soil below. The plants beneath, chili, spinach, tomatoes, stretch upward, their leaves glistening, their roots grateful for the steady rhythm. The beauty of this system lies in its simplicity. No pumps, no pipes, no expensive parts, only bottles reused with intention. By controlling how many holes are made, you control the pace of watering. The wall becomes both functional and beautiful, a living artwork where plastic serves not as waste, but as a channel for life. Families find joy in watching the bottles empty over hours, knowing their plants are being cared for even while they rest. Children learn the value of conservation, marveling at how little drops add up to green abundance. Neighbors notice, impressed by how clever design can emerge from the simplest materials. This is more than irrigation, it is meditation. Each drip is a heartbeat of the garden, each bottle a reminder that patience grows stronger roots than haste. And as you stand before the wall, watching water fall softly onto soil, you realize that gardening is not about control, but about harmony, guiding nature with gentle hands and letting every drop find its purpose. There is something beautiful about reaching up to pick herbs fresh from your own wall. Mint for your tea, basil for your soup, parsley to sprinkle on rice. It all feels alive, fragrant, and immediate. A bottle hanging herb garden makes this joy possible even in the smallest spaces, turning balconies and verandas into kitchens of green. Picture rows of bottles hanging neatly from ropes, each one holding a pocket of soil. From their openings, green shoots spill outward, leaves waving gently in the breeze. The air fills with fragrance, cool mint, spicy basil, sweet coriander. Every meal begins here, in the garden that hangs like a curtain of life. Making a hanging herb garden is wonderfully simple. Bottles are cut open along their sides, filled with soil and suspended with ropes or wires. A few holes ensure drainage, and the rest is left to sun, water, and care. In a week, tiny sprouts emerge. In a month, you're harvesting fresh herbs by hand. For families, it is a practical treasure, saving trips to the market and adding flavor to meals. For children, it is a playground of scents, teaching them to touch, smell, and learn the names of plants. For you, it is peace of mind, knowing that nourishment can be grown so close, even from what was once waste. It is not only about food, it is about connection. The act of watering, of plucking leaves before dinner, becomes ritual. The bottles, once discarded, now dangle proudly, guardians of freshness. And every time you cook, you taste more than herbs. You taste creativity, sustainability, and the quiet satisfaction of life made simple and green. Feeding fish is often a moment of joy. The ripples spreading, the flashes of silver and gold darting just beneath the water. Yet sometimes life is busy and fish must wait. A floating fish feeder made from plastic bottles offers them steady care, even when you're not there, turning waste into a gift of constancy. Imagine a bottle bobbing gently on a pond surface. From its small opening, food pellets fall slowly, carried by the current of hungry koi and tilapia below. They circle eagerly, their mouths breaking the water, their bodies shimmering as they feed. The pond becomes alive with movement, not rushed but steady, nourished by a bottle that works quietly and faithfully. The design is simple yet clever. A plastic bottle is cleaned, fitted with a small hole or dispenser cap, and allowed to float. Inside, it carries fish food that drips little by little, controlled by the size of the hole. Some designs even use small floats to shake gently, releasing more pellets when fish nudge against them. For families, it means no worry when days grow busy. For children, it is fun to watch the feeder drift and release food like magic. For the gardener or pond keeper, it is assurance, knowing the fish are cared for without waste, without haste. This feeder is more than a tool. It is a lesson in care. It shows that feeding is not just about abundance, but about rhythm and balance. And each time you see the fish gather joyfully, you are reminded that kindness can float, that even discarded bottles can carry life, and that a pond is not only water but a world of trust and creativity. Every garden breathes in cycles. What is once waste, peels, leaves, scraps, can become life again if given a chance. A bottle mini compost bin captures this circle, transforming kitchen leftovers into rich soil food right inside a humble plastic container. It is nature's recycling brought down to the smallest scale. Imagine bottles lined up neatly in a sunny backyard corner. Each one holds layers of vegetable peels, dry leaves, and soil. Tiny holes punched along the sides allow air to flow, and within days, the scraps begin to soften, darken, and break down. Slowly, they transform into compost, black, earthy, and alive with nutrients. The plants nearby grow greener, their roots fed by the very food once discarded. Creating a mini compost bin is wonderfully simple. Bottles are cut or left whole with an opening, filled with scraps, and closed with breathable holes. They take little space, making them perfect for balconies, small yards, or school projects. Within weeks, you have homemade fertilizer to sprinkle around your garden, a reward for patience and care. For families, it is a habit that reduces waste and teaches responsibility. For children, it becomes a lesson in transformation, watching food scraps disappear and return to soil. For you, the gardener, it is satisfaction, proof that nothing in nature is truly lost, only waiting to change. The bottle itself tells the story of renewal. Once waste, it now holds the power to turn other waste into treasure. And as you pour that compost onto your plants, you feel part of something larger. The endless cycle where endings are beginnings, and where life always finds its way back to the soil. There are gardens that stand still, and there are gardens that seem to flow. A bottle vertical flower cascade creates the illusion of movement, where blossoms tumble downward like water, filling the air with color and life. It is a simple design, yet it transforms a plain wall into a living waterfall of petals. Imagine standing before a wall where bottles are arranged diagonally, each one tilted just enough for flowers to spill out. At the top, bougainvillea stretches wide, its magenta blossoms glowing in the sun. Below, rows of marigolds shine golden, and petunias add splashes of purple and pink. The effect is like a cascade of blooms, flowing endlessly, a fountain of color born not from water, but from soil. The design is clever in its simplicity. Bottles are cut, filled with soil, and attached securely in layers, one feeding the next as water trickles down. When arranged in a flowing pattern, the flowers seem to dance, turning static walls into living tapestries. With little care, watering and trimming, the cascade grows fuller, thicker, more enchanting with each passing week. For families, it becomes a photo-worthy backdrop, a source of daily delight. For children, it is a fairy tale come true, a wall that blooms like magic. For you, it is pride, knowing you've turned bottles into beauty, waste into wonder. And when evening comes, the cascade glows differently, its color softened, its shape still flowing in the twilight. It reminds you that gardens are not only about roots and stems, but about imagination, that even something as rigid as plastic can carry the grace of a waterfall, and even the smallest blossoms can fall like rain from your own hands. When the sun goes down, the garden often slips into quiet shadow. Yet with creativity, night itself can bloom. Bottle night lampshades bring soft, glowing light into the dark, transforming simple plastic into warmth, color, and a sense of wonder. Picture a row of lamps along a garden path, each one made from a bottle cut and shaped with care. Some are smooth cylinders, others carved with petal-like patterns. Painted in translucent hues, amber, green, violet, they glow like jewels when lit from within. The bottles, once dull and forgotten, now shine as keepers of light, guiding footsteps and warming hearts. The design is simple and versatile. Bottles are clean, shaped, and decorated, then fitted with small LED bulbs or solar-powered lights. By day, they catch the sun and sparkle faintly. By night, they bloom with gentle radiance. They require no grand effort, only imagination, and the courage to see beauty where others see trash. Families gather beneath their glow, sharing stories late into the evening. Children marvel at the colors dancing on the ground, learning that light can be crafted with one's own hands. For you, Each lamp is more than decoration. It is a reminder that warmth need not be bought. It can be made even from what was once discarded. These night lamps do more than brighten. They change the atmosphere. They turn a quiet backyard into a sanctuary, a place where evening lingers longer, softer, and more welcoming. In their glow, you see the proof that even in darkness, beauty can be born, and that plastic bottles, given light, can themselves become stars. A fence is usually a boundary, a simple division between one space and another. But what if that boundary could also become a source of nourishment? A bottle-edible garden fence turns walls into harvests, blending protection, beauty, and food into a single design. Imagine walking along the edge of your yard where bottles line up tightly, forming a fence that stands tall. Instead of being empty, each bottle is filled with soil. From their sides sprout rows of green spinach, fiery red chilies, and tender lettuce leaves. The fence no longer feels like a barrier. It becomes a living pantry, giving back with every season. The construction is simple yet striking. Bottles are fixed onto a bamboo or wooden frame, their mouths and sides cut open for planting. Water drips downward from one level to the next, feeding each row. The result is a green wall that not only marks space but also fills the kitchen with fresh ingredients. For families, it is a daily blessing. A handful of spinach plucked for dinner, a chili or two added for spice, all taken from the fence itself. For children, it is an adventure to find food growing in unexpected places. For you, it is pride knowing that your boundary holds life, that your garden gives more than beauty. The edible fence proves that sustainability can be practical and poetic. Where others see division, you see growth. Where others see waste, you see food. And with every harvest, the fence teaches a simple truth, that the lines we draw in life need not separate. They can connect, nourish, and bloom. There are few things as refreshing as cool water falling on a hot day. For plants, for children, even for weary gardeners, water is joy. A bottle outdoor shower sprinkler brings that joy into the garden, turning waste into streams of life that wash heat away and leave behind laughter. Imagine a bamboo frame standing in the yard, with bottles fixed neatly across the top. Each one is pierced with small holes, releasing thin sprays of water when filled. The sun catches the droplets as they fall, scattering rainbows in the air. Children run beneath the shower, their laughter blending with the splash. Nearby, the soil darkens, leaves glisten, and the garden drinks deeply. The design is clever, yet simple. Bottles act as both containers and nozzles. Connected to a hose or filled manually, they release water slowly, mimicking rain. For plants, it is a gentle way to water evenly. For people, it is an outdoor shower, perfect after a long day or during the heat of summer. Families find delight in gathering here, letting the sprinkler cool both skin and soil. For children, it becomes a playground. For adults, a simple luxury that feels almost like a spa, made with nothing but bottles and imagination. And for you, it becomes a symbol that refreshment need not come from expense, but from creativity. The outdoor shower sprinkler is more than function. It is memory. Every splash, every laugh, every green leaf it nourishes becomes part of the story told by bottles once forgotten. And in that story, water is not wasted. It is celebrated, shared, and transformed into joy. Inside a garden, there can be smaller gardens, world within worlds, each alive in its own rhythm. A bottle terrarium globe captures this wonder, creating a tiny ecosystem that thrives inside a clear shell. What was once waste becomes a window into nature's patience, a miniature forest in your own hands. Imagine a round bottle resting on a wooden bench. Through its clear walls, you see layers of pebbles, soil, and moss. Tiny plants stretch upward, droplets of condensation slide down the sides, and light filters through like morning sun in a hidden valley. It is quiet inside, yet alive. Roots reaching downward, leaves unfolding upward, a cycle of breath contained in plastic. Making a terrarium globe requires only care and imagination. The bottle is cut, shaped, and filled with layers. Stones for drainage, soil for roots, moss for moisture, and plants for growth. Once sealed, it creates balance. Water recycles, air circulates, and life sustains itself. It is a lesson in harmony. taught by a world small enough to hold. For families, the globe becomes a source of wonder, a story in miniature. For children, it is magic, seeing a rainforest inside a bottle, watching droplets rise and fall like rain. For you, it is serenity, a piece of wilderness kept close, reminding you that beauty does not always require space. It requires balance. The terrarium globe teaches that even in confinement, life finds a way to flourish. That plastic, often a symbol of waste, can instead hold life tenderly. And as you watch the green world grow inside the bottle, you realize it is not just decoration. It is a reminder of the resilience of nature, echoing softly in miniature. A garden bench is a place of pause, a spot to rest, to breathe, to watch the world grow slowly. But it can also be a canvas for creativity. With paint, scissors, and imagination, plastic bottles can become decorations that transform an ordinary seat into a piece of living art. Imagine a simple wooden bench placed beneath a shady tree. Along its backrest, plastic bottles have been cut and shaped into petals, painted bright reds, blues, and yellows. Arranged together, they form flowers that seem to bloom against the wood. On the arms of the bench, bottles have been turned into geometric tiles, catching the sunlight and shimmering faintly. The bench no longer looks plain. It looks alive, inviting, and personal. Creating bottle bench decor is both playful and practical. Bottles can be cut into strips, circles, or shapes, then attached with nails or glue. Painted with durable colors, they withstand sun and rain, keeping their brightness over time. Some gardeners even use translucent bottles, allowing light to filter through like stained glass, adding a touch of magic to the seat. For families, the bench becomes more than furniture. It becomes a gathering place where stories are told under a canopy of color. For children, it is a cheerful surprise, showing them how waste can bloom like flowers. And for you, it is pride, knowing you built not just a bench, but a statement of care and creativity. In the stillness of the garden, the decorated bench reminds us that beauty does not only grow from soil, it can also be shaped by hands. And every time you sit there, surrounded by plants and color, you feel the harmony of rest, art, and nature blending together. Rain can be wild and messy, rushing from roofs to soil, carving paths it was never meant to take. But with a little imagination, rain can be guided, softened, and even celebrated. A bottle rain chain turns storm water into poetry, transforming plastic into a dance of droplets that sing as they fall. Picture a veranda roof during a tropical shower. Instead of plain gutters, a line of bottle cups cascades downward. Each one catches the water, spilling it gracefully into the next, until it reaches a clay pot waiting below. The rain no longer splashes. It flows in rhythm, like liquid music weaving its way through the garden. Creating a rain chain is simple yet striking. Bottles are cut into cup or funnel shapes, painted or left clear, and linked together with rope or wire. When hung from the roof, they channel water while adding beauty. On dry days, they shimmer like ornaments. On wet days, they come alive, transforming necessity into spectacle. For families, the chain becomes a delight during storms, turning gray skies into a show. For children, it is magic, watching water leap gracefully from one cup to another. For you, it is pride, proof that you can tame the rain with nothing but creativity and care. Beyond beauty, the rain chain is practical. It directs water into containers, conserving it for future use. It protects the soil from erosion and reduces waste. Yet in doing so, it also creates art, reminding us that sustainability and elegance can flow together. Each time rain falls, the chain whispers that even storms can be gentle, even waste can guide life. And as you listen to the rhythm of droplets, you find yourself smiling, because the rain no longer just falls, it sings. A garden is not only a place for plants, it is also a playground for imagination. For children, every corner can hold adventure. Every tool can be a toy. With creativity, plastic bottles become more than containers. They transform into games, companions, and lessons hidden in play. Imagine children running barefoot on grass, their hands holding small watering cans cut from bottles. They sprinkle water on seedlings, laughing as drops fall like rain. In another corner, colorful pinwheels made from bottle fins spin wildly in the breeze, catching the sunlight in a rainbow of movement. Along the path, bottles painted as ladybugs, frogs, and fish sit cheerfully, watching over the garden as if alive. The beauty of bottle toys lies in their simplicity. A cut here, a splash of paint there, and a bottle becomes a world of possibility. Some are shaped into bowling pins for games, others into boats that float on puddles after rain. With every toy, a child learns about recycling, about nature, about joy that doesn't come from screens but from hands and imagination. For families, these toys bring bonding. Parents and children create together, turning afternoons into workshops of laughter. For children, they become treasures, unique, handmade, alive with stories. And for you, the gardener, they turn your space into more than soil and leaves. It becomes a place of learning, of play, of memory. These toys remind us that gardens nurture more than plants. They nurture childhoods. They show that happiness doesn't always come from stores but from creativity, and that waste can become wonder when seen through the eyes of play. And in the laughter of children among bottles turned toys, the garden itself feels young again. Gardens are meant to smell of life. Fresh leaves, wet soil, blooming flowers. Yet sometimes unwanted guests arrive. Mosquitoes buzzing, pests nibbling, discomfort disturbing peace. A simple idea, a bottle aromatic diffuser stake, brings back harmony, filling the air with fragrance while guarding plants from harm. Imagine small bottles half hidden in the soil, standing like guardians among the rows. Inside, they hold mixtures of water, herbs, or essential oils, citronella for mosquitoes, mint for ants, lavender for relaxation. Sticks or wicks rise from the openings, slowly releasing scent into the air. As the breeze carries it, pests retreat, and the garden breathes again with freshness. Creating these diffusers is simple. Bottles are cleaned, filled with natural ingredients, and fitted with small wooden sticks or fabric wicks. Buried slightly in soil or tied to stakes, they work quietly, needing only occasional refills. No chemicals, no harm, just fragrance guiding nature and balance. For families, the stakes mean evenings outdoors without worry, meals eaten in the garden without the buzz of insects. For children, they become a lesson in natural protection, learning that plants and oils can defend without poison. For you, they bring peace, sitting among flowers, inhaling lavender, feeling the air safe and sweet. Beyond function, these bottle diffusers add charm. Painted or decorated, they look like tiny lanterns dotting garden beds. Their presence is both subtle and beautiful, blending utility with art. And every time you catch the scent, you are reminded that waste can become wellness. That plastic can hold not just liquid but life itself. The garden whispers through these bottles. Protection need not be harsh. Fragrance can also be shielded, and creativity is the sweetest defense of all. In every garden, countless lives move unseen. Ants march in lines. Beetles hide under leaves. Ladybugs climb stems in silence. To children, these tiny creatures are full of mystery. Too small to hold, too quick to follow. A bottle insect observation house makes that hidden world visible, safe, and endlessly fascinating. Imagine clear bottles arranged neatly on wooden stands. Each one has small cutout windows covered with mesh, filled with twigs, leaves, or bits of soil. Inside, insects crawl and explore, their movements magnified by the clear walls. Children kneel close, eyes wide, whispering as they watch beetles climb, ants dig, and ladybugs rest beneath tiny branches. The garden becomes a classroom, every bottle a living book. Making an insect house is simple and playful. Bottles are cleaned, cut with careful openings, and filled with natural materials. Air holes ensure breathability, while mesh keeps insects safe and visible. Placed in shaded corners, they become sanctuaries for observation, mini zoos that teach patience and respect. For children, these houses are magic, turning curiosity into knowledge, fear into fascination. For families, they offer hours of bonding, drawing everyone closer to the life pulsing just beneath the soil. And for you, they remind you that every garden is more than plants. It is an entire world of creatures that sustain the balance of growth. Beyond education, the insect house nurtures empathy. Watching closely, one learns that insects are not pests alone. They are pollinators, decomposers, allies of the earth. And as the bottles shelter them, you realize the lesson is larger, that even the smallest beings deserve space, and even waste plastic can provide it. Seedlings are fragile. Their first days are battles against sun, rain, wind, and pests. Yet, with care, they can be shielded until they are strong enough to stand on their own. A bottle mini greenhouse row cover offers that care. Simple domes of plastic that turn vulnerability into survival. Imagine rows of young spinach, chili, or tomato plants. Over each one, a clear bottle is placed like a protective dome. Sunlight passes easily through, warming the soil beneath. Rainwater drips gently, while the curved walls hold moisture in, keeping the seedlings hydrated. The garden looks like a series of tiny greenhouses, each one a safe haven for growth. Creating them is simple. Bottles are cut in half, their tops placed over seedlings. Small holes ensure airflow, preventing excess humidity. Aligned in neat rows, they stand like an army of guardians, transparent yet strong, shielding life within. For families, these mini greenhouses bring assurance, knowing fragile plants will not be lost overnight. For children, they are fascinating, like little crystal houses where plants live and grow. For you, they are peace of mind, a reminder that protection need not be costly or complex. It can be shaped from what was once waste. Beyond function, the domes add beauty. Dew gathers on the inside walls, catching the morning light like glass beads. The seedlings beneath stand taller, thriving in their microclimate. And as days pass, when you finally lift the bottles away, the plants emerge stronger, ready for the open world. These bottle covers are more than plastic. They are lessons that growth requires shelter, that strength begins with protection, and that creativity can turn fragility into resilience. In every dome, the garden whispers. Even the smallest act of care can grow into a harvest of abundance. Some gardens rise from the ground, but others bloom on walls, where plants become paintings and soil becomes brushstrokes. A bottle vertical succulent wall is one of these creations, where discarded plastic becomes a frame and succulents turn it into living art. Imagine a backyard wall once plain and gray. Now, rows of bottles cling to it like canvases, each one holding soil and a small succulent. Jade plants cluster in one row, their leaves round and glossy. Above, echeveria blooms like rosettes of pastel green and purple. Between them, aloe stretches tall, its leaves sharp yet graceful. Together they form patterns, lines, spirals, or mosaics that turn the wall into a gallery of life. Creating a vertical succulent wall is practical and enchanting. Bottles are cut, filled, and secured against the wall. Because succulents need little water, the bottles remain clean, their plants thriving with minimal care. The design conserves space, beautifies surfaces, and teaches that gardens do not always need wide fields. They can rise vertically where sunlight falls. For families, it becomes a source of pride, a backdrop for photos, a daily inspiration. For children, it is a lesson in patience, watching slow-growing succulents change subtly with time. For you, it is satisfaction, knowing you've turned waste into beauty, blankness into vibrancy. But beyond function, this wall carries meaning. It shows that life can flourish even in small containers, even against hard surfaces. It teaches that beauty is not limited by space, but by imagination. And every time you stand before the wall, you see not just plants, but resilience, creativity, and hope rooted in bottles, blossoming toward the sun. The sound of water brings calm. A gentle trickle softens the air, quiets the mind, and turns a garden into a retreat. With creativity, even plastic bottles can carry the serenity, flowing into a decorative fountain that is both art and refreshment. Picture bottles arranged like stepping stones for water, cut and shaped to catch and release each drop. Painted in warm earth colors or shimmering metallic shades, they no longer resemble waste, but sculpted vessels. At the top, a bottle tips water gently into another, then another, until the stream reaches a small pond at the base. Plants crowd around, their leaves wet with spray, while the sound of flowing water fills the space with peace. Making such a fountain is playful yet rewarding. Bottles are cut and positioned in sequence, sometimes hidden within bamboo or stone. sometimes proudly displayed as design. A small pump or gravity-fed flow keeps the water moving, while sunlight makes the surface glitter like silver threads. For families, the fountain becomes a centerpiece, a gathering spot where meals taste fresher, conversations last longer. For children, it is wonder, a miniature waterfall in their own yard, proof that magic can be handmade. For you, it is balance. Waste turned into art, water turned into music, stillness turned into healing. This fountain is not only decoration, but meditation. Each drop falling is a reminder that life moves gently, constantly, beautifully. And as you sit nearby, listening, you realize that peace does not have to be bought or sought far away. It can be made with your own hands, from what others discard, flowing endlessly in your own garden. A garden is more than soil and plants. It is also a place for rest, laughter, and gentle play. A swing chair adds that sense of wonder, and when built from recycled bottles, it carries not only joy but also creativity and sustainability. Imagine a large tree with branches strong enough to hold a secret. Hanging beneath it is a swing chair, crafted from bottles cut and shaped to form a sturdy seat. Painted in bright reds, yellows, and blues, the bottles sparkle in the sunlight, catching eyes and smiles. Ropes hold it firm, swaying gently as children climb aboard. Their laughter rises as the swing arcs, carrying them into a moment where time feels light. The design is both practical and imaginative. Bottles are used as building blocks, tied or woven together, creating a lightweight yet surprisingly strong frame. With cushions or fabric added, the swing becomes comfortable, not just playful. For adults, it offers quiet moments of rest. For children, it is pure joy, proof that waste can carry them into the sky. Families gather around, taking turns, sharing stories as the chair sways. Neighbors passing by smile at the sight, curious and inspired. And for you, the builder, every creak of the ropes feels like triumph. A design that costs nothing yet gives everything. Beyond play, the swing chair model teaches resilience. It shows children that what is thrown away can lift them up, that creativity can carry weight, that sustainability is not only about saving but also about living. And every time the swing moves, it whispers softly. Happiness is not bought, it is built, swaying gently in the garden breeze. As the sun sets and the air cools, the garden transforms. Shadows grow longer, crickets sing, and the earth exhales its calm. A candle pathway made from bottles turns this quiet transition into a celebration, where light guides each step and waste becomes wonder. Picture a narrow path winding through a garden, bordered by bottles cut and shaped into lanterns. Inside each one, a candle flickers, its glow dancing across the glassy plastic. Some bottles are painted with patterns, stars, flowers, geometric shapes that shine brightly as the flame plays behind them. The pathway looks alive, like a river of light flowing through the night. Creating the candle pathway is simple yet deeply rewarding. Bottles are cut to form protective holders, decorated with paint or carvings, and placed carefully along the path. Small candles or LED lights inside bring them to life. On special evenings, they can mark celebrations, dinners, or quiet moments of reflection. For families, the pathway becomes an invitation to walk together after dinner, to share conversations under gentle light. For children, it feels like magic, as if the ground itself has lit up to welcome them. For you, it is peace, a reminder that even discarded plastic can hold light and meaning. The pathway teaches that beauty often lies in guidance, that bottles once forgotten can shine again, not only as objects but as symbols of direction and care. And each time you walk under their glow, you realize that the garden is more than plants. It is a stage where light, shadow, and creativity dance together in harmony. A garden changes with the seasons, not only in plants but also in spirit. Holidays bring families together, and with creativity, even plastic bottles can join the celebration, transformed into decorations that sparkle with meaning and joy. A seasonal holiday decor garden becomes more than a space. It becomes a stage for memory. Imagine a backyard at night. Along the pathways, bottles glow like lanterns, painted in bright red and green for Christmas. In another corner, bottles cut into crescent shapes shine softly, marking Eve with dignity and warmth. On New Year's Eve, bottles strung with fairy lights glitter like stars, reflecting hope for the year to come. Each season carries its own story, yet all are told through bottles once destined for waste. The process is playful and creative. Bottles are cut painted or wrapped in fabric. Some hold candles, others LED lights, and some are simply colorful sculptures that catch the eye. They are placed among plants, hung from branches or set along fences, turning the garden into a festive canvas of light and color. For families, these decorations become traditions, rituals of making, arranging, and celebrating together. For children, they are magic, showing how hands can craft wonder from the simplest things. For you, they are pride, proof that sustainability can be joyful, that holidays can be celebrated without excess, and that beauty can emerge from what others discard. The garden, dressed in seasonal lights, reminds us that celebration is not about cost, but about meaning. That joy can be crafted with love, shared in community, and made brighter by creativity. And every holiday, as the bottles glow once more, the garden becomes not only a place of growth, but a home of memory, hope, and togetherness.